welcome to a new episode of Soft Signal. My name is Varun and I'm joined by Aditya.
Welcome once again to yet another
And
episode.
yeah, I should learn to stop interrupting you in the intro. Uh, we're still working that out after 30 odd episodes. Anyway, this week we're going to talk about something a bit not focused on India. We're going to talk about actually our neighbors who we haven't been too friendly with over the past little while, but hope that hopefully there are better things ahead. If you haven't guessed already, we're talking about Pakistan and the much awaited Australian tour of Pakistan, which is going to start this coming Friday, actually. The first starts on March 4th. So, Australia are touring Pakistan after 24 years. The last time they toured was in 1998 when Aditya and I were not even in double digits. So it's been that long. Uh, and yeah, it's been a long awaited tour. Pakistan has had all sorts of unfortunate incidents and issues happen, most notably the 2009 attack on the Sri Lankan team, which led to a lot of like teams not touring. They had to play out of Pakistan for almost a decade. But now it seems like things are kind of getting back to some sort of normalcy.
Yeah, finally, there is cricket in Pakistan. And more importantly, there's a high profile team traveling there. So, Zimbabwe has toured, Sri Lanka has toured, and recently, even South Africa toured. But for Australia to go there, it's a huge event. Also, it's a media spectacle in a way. And what that does is that it draws more eyeballs towards this series basically. So for Pakistan cricket, and also Pakistan cricket fans, it's really a big deal, to be able to play Australia in their own backyard after 24 long years. I mean, that I don't know if there's ever been a longer gap uh, between two teams playing a series in a particular country, than this 24-year gap. So it's a huge a moment for Pakistan cricket, for Pakistan cricket fans, and also for the Pakistan cricket players themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Because and especially after that last year, just before the T20 World Cup, when New Zealand actually even went to Pakistan, and on the eve of the first match, they had to pull out because of security concerns, and then England then decided made up the worst excuse of all time. They've conflated COVID with security concerns, and they just pulled out of their T20 tour as well. This is also a full tour, which is really good because there's three tests, then there's three ODIs, and then there's one T20. And yeah, hopefully with COVID, I think is kind of getting better all over the world. So I think they are going to be allowed crowds as well. So really good to see cricket come back to see this this high profile tour. I mean, I've been watching I've been just glancing at Pakistan Super League that's happened also, which is now in Pakistan. So it's been happening gradually, but this will be a good. Mm, it's important, right? I think we keep talking about how we need stronger teams in Test cricket, and then if you don't play at home, you don't developing the cricket culture is difficult, and then becoming a stronger team is difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a very important point because this is exactly the kind of series that motivates younger fans from that particular country to take up cricket. So essentially, uh, it sort of reinforces the future of Pakistan cricket. Now, all these years they were playing in Abu Dhabi and Dubai and Sharjah, but obviously you can't expect the Pakistani fan who lives in Pakistan to travel to those countries to watch Pakistan play. So as a result, those fans simply lose interest in cricket. As a result, you have fewer people aspiring to grow up and become cricketers, and so you sort of lose potential cricketers for the future, and you sort of weaken the interest of the game in the long term. So that is something that probably was happening. when Pakistan was playing their home tours in the UAE. But now with international teams coming back to Pakistan, it really motivates the younger kids around the country to take up cricket in the future. Also, for the Pakistan players themselves, there is nothing more exciting than playing cricket in front of your own crowds, in front of your own, people in grounds that you've kind of grown up playing in. So it's really a big motivation for them as well. They will be looking to play their best and hopefully beat Australia in the series. For them also, it'll be really a momentous occasion. And also a great chance for them to beat Australia, right? So we've spoken in one of our previous episodes about how home advantage is nowadays a really big advantage in cricket series. So Pakistan did not really have a home advantage in the UAE. Yes, okay, the pitches were sort of tailor made to their style of play, but still, it was not like playing in Karachi or Lahore, for example. So finally they can enjoy real home advantage, and they'll be trying to use that to actually beat Australia in this series maybe.
Yeah, and like while Pakistan have done actually really well in T20, despite all of these issues that we just saw how they played in the T20 World Cup, including the match we don't want to talk about. But Test cricket, they haven't really been that strong of a force. They've been up and down. They were pretty good during Misbah's captaincy, but then they've kind of dropped off over the recent while. So, especially so but so yeah, so I was it's probably a good chance for them to get back on track in the test arena as well. Also, I just read that the tickets are, at least for the first test, are really cheap. It's going to be like the most expensive ticket is I think 500 Pakistani rupees, which is about 200 Indian rupees. So it's definitely, I think they're sacrificing any kind of profit, but more interested in getting crowds full, like stadiums full, which will be great. The atmosphere in any home countries, especially if they can get crowds full for Test cricket, it will be a great advert for Test cricket as well.
Yeah, it'll be a great advert for Test cricket, especially during these COVID times when it's difficult to get people into stadiums to watch cricket matches. So, so yeah, it's a good combination, for Pakistan, at least a big profile team visiting after 24 years. The pandemic kind of uh, well, I wouldn't say going away, but at least people are coming to terms with it. So
Yeah.
it's a good coincidence, that these things are happening together, so that people can get the opportunity to enjoy the games from the grounds. Um, Also, I'm happy to see that the Australian team has sort of pulled its weight behind the tour. A lot of the high profile players are also making the trip. It's not like, a lot of players have opted out from the tour, which usually happens when the talk of traveling to Pakistan comes up. So happy to see that, which means also that the security arrangements are good. The players and the boards are satisfied with the security arrangements. Also, the fact that the PSL is being conducted in Pakistan means that I think the entire administration, the security teams, etc., are ready to host games and to host international teams. So it's really a momentous occasion for Pakistan. I really hope that nothing goes wrong during the series. Um, you know, I hope that there isn't some security threat last minute, that forces the Australians to pull out. And I'm saying that only because it's happened before with New Zealand. So I really hope something like that does not happen, because for Pakistan cricket, for Pakistan fans, and for Test cricket in general, this tour really needs to happen.
Yeah, and don't forget Usman Khawaja will be playing in his country of birth, which is pretty a big moment for him as well, I'm sure. Like he
Yeah,
never, I think he moved when he was, I have with his family when he was 5 or something, but
yeah,
still, really good to go back to your home
yeah,
country, so to speak.
yeah. I
Um,
think. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you there, but let you finish.
No, I'm done.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so I think it was, I think I saw a video on YouTube, or I think it was you that sent it to me, right? Of Saeed Ajmal interviewing Usman Khwaja, and Usman Khwaja is actually speaking in Urdu. So
Yeah, and pretty good for someone who left the country at 5.
exactly, it's Urdu with an Australian accent, but he's still doing a pretty decent job of it. So I think it'll be interesting for him to connect with his roots again, uh, and uh, and yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if he leaves Pakistan as the most famous Australian to have visited Pakistan in the last few years.
Yeah,
This could happen.
honorary citizenship. Yeah,
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see how all of these things play out. I just hope the tour goes on, and we don't have any last minute untoward surprises.
yeah. So, and these actually Australia, India, and Pakistan are pretty close at the top of the World Test Championship table, especially looking at the fixtures. And so it's going to be most likely two out of these three teams who play the World Test Championship final next year. So this is a very important series in that from that perspective as well. Any quick predictions? Like Australia are honestly not the best touring. They haven't toured in a while, and especially to the subcontinent, they really are a poor touring team. Uh, Want to make any quick predictions, or do you want to let that slide?
Well, let's make the predictions anyways, knowing fully well that most of our predictions are never on spot. But I think yeah, Australia is not doesn't tour very well, especially the subcontinent. Don't tour the subcontinent that well. Also, home advantage is a significant advantage in international cricket these days. So I think Pakistan will benefit from that, and also I think the Pakistani players will be motivated, will be extra motivated for this series. I think they will be looking to put on a really strong show, uh, because they play Australia in Pakistan for the first time in 24 years. So I think all of those factors put together probably make Pakistan the favorites for me. Um, but of course, you can never count Australia out, because they have the personnel. They've got good fast bowlers, and uh, reverse swing is no longer exclusive to Pakistani bowlers, right? So expect the likes of Cummins, Stark, and Hazelwood to extract some reverse swing and make it competitive in that sense. But I think Pakistan still holds the edge thanks to home advantage and the extra motivation that their players will carry to the field. So I would say maybe 2-1 to Pakistan.
Yeah, I actually don't think Australia will win a test. They haven't toured at all since I think the Ashes of 2019. I don't remember a tour, and yeah, they're gonna probably there's no prep that they're gonna have. They're gonna be in a bubble. I would actually say either 2-0 or 3-0 to Pakistan. We'll see how it goes, depending on the conditions as well. As it is still kind of like heading into the summer actually, so that would be probably another thing to contend with the heat for them as well. So I honestly think it might be 2 or 3-0 to Pakistan, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch for sure. Um, for the second half of the episode, I think we wanted to just talk about our memories. Like we, when we grew up, for the first like 15 years, we didn't have any test tours of India, at least to Pakistan. Then we had two test tours, like one in 2004 and then one in 2006. 2004 one especially, I think, was memorable, of course, because we won both the tests and the ODIs. And the ODI series, especially, I think, was one of the best series. Like all five matches were great to watch.
Yeah, that was quite an iconic series as well. It was the first time we were touring. India was touring Pakistan in 15 years, I think.
Yeah,
So Sachin made his debut in the '89 series, and then the next time he toured Pakistan was that one, that series in 2004. So yeah, I still remember parts of that series. I think the matches were fun. It was competitive. The test matches were competitive. The ODI series, you're right, was extremely. Every match was extremely close. I still remember the first match of that ODI series where India got close to 350.
Yeah.
Pakistan was in trouble, but then they came back and almost chased it down. And in those days, in 2004, chasing 350 was a big deal. So I was actually, I still remember thinking to myself that how can Pakistan even come close to 350? Like it's not even, it was not even, you couldn't fathom that kind of situation back in 2004. But yeah, I remember 8 runs needed of the last over or something
And
like that.
Ashish Nehra.
Ashish Nehra bowled the last over, and I remember that catch that Mohammad Kaif took, and he took a knee to the face from, it was Murli Kartik, I think.
Badani. No, it was
Oh,
Badani.
Badani, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those were interesting. I remember the second match as well, where Sachin scored 141, and it always seems weird, right? Whenever he got
And we
these big
lost.
hundreds,
Yeah.
yeah, he got these massive hundreds. No one else contributed, and we would lose, and then Sachin would get the blame. Like he scored 100,
Yeah.
so we lost. When he scores, India lose. When he scores 100, India loses. Like the most
Yeah.
weird argument I've ever heard. But yeah, and then also the last match of that series was also interesting. I think where India, that's where India clinched the series. So yeah, quite some interesting memories. The test matches were also good. But yeah, it was a good series overall. Lakshmipati Balaji emerged as the fans' favorite, the Pakistani fans' favorite. I remember
Yeah.
even
Actually, I was watching a video recently of Lakshmipati Balaji. That I think that some of the Indian cricketers visited some Pakistani college during the tour, and they were like huge fan following. And
yeah,
Irfan Pathan also was actually like he had just come off that his debut tour, and he bowled so well, and like it was just. And even the test, like at the third test, of course, the first test you can't forget Sehwag's 300, first
yeah,
ever 300 by an Indian, and then the Dravid's 270 in the third test. But I think the moment of the test series was that last ball of the third day in the first test, where Sachin bowled Moin Khan. Like that was
between his
just
legs.
yeah, like everyone's reaction was just it was just the one of the
Yeah.
m- most fun moments I've watched on a cricket
Yeah.
field.
I mean, expect Sachin to pull out these crazy leg spinning deliveries that spin from leg to off and
Yeah,
bamboozle every batsman. I mean, he was a freakish talent. He was an amazing batsman, of course, but his leg spin bowling was top notch as well. I mean, he spun the ball more than most of the leg spinners, most of the leg spinners did those days. So yeah, I remember
more than
that.
Kumble for sure.
Oh yeah, more than Kumble for sure. So yeah, it was quite an amazing series. That one was quite an awesome series for sure.
Yeah,
And yeah, and I think we played in 2006 after that, right, in
yeah.
Pakistan. But
But
that time
we
we
lost
lost.
the test. We
Yeah,
lost that test with Irfan Pathan getting the hat trick in the first over, and they were like 30 for six or something, and we
yes,
still lost that test match.
yeah. It was Razak and Kamran Akmal that both
Yeah,
scored centuries, I think.
yeah, and then Mohammad Asif, like what a bowler he was before all
Yeah,
of that rubbish. He
yeah,
destroyed us in the second innings, but then we won the ODIs 4-1, and that was like an insane series because we just chased every score they would put in front of us, and it was Dhoni and Yuvraj especially in that series. They just played in especially the last third and the fifth match. I think I just like it seemed like we could chase anything.
yeah, yeah. This was the time when India was kind of becoming a very good chasing side, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you put 260s, 270, 280, even 300 on the board, and for sure they would chase it down. I think the whole stigma around chasing targets had sort of moved, because before that India didn't chase that well. It was only
yeah.
this period between 2006 to probably 2008 or so, or 2009 maybe, where we really chased well, except the 2007 World Cup where we didn't chase too well there. But
That what I
on
don't
either
remember that tournament. Did it happen?
but yeah, but either side of that World Cup, we had developed ourselves into a very good chasing side. And yeah, that was also the start of Dhoni's ascent towards being one of the best captains and one of the best wicketkeeper batsmen in international cricket. So quite something, that
Yeah.
2006 series as well. Yeah,
And then yeah, after that we never had a full tour. I mean, We played the Asia Cup there in 2008, which we lost. I think that was the final where we lost. Ajanta Mendes got those 6 wickets, but yeah, that was just one tournament, and then there hasn't been any cricket in India. I think the last Test India and Pakistan played was in India in 2007, and they played ODIs. They played one ODI series in India in 2012, and then nothing for the last 10 years, other
Yeah.
than the ICC tournament uh, matches. Which brings us to the last point. Like, what's your stance on this? Like, we play them. We don't play bilateral series because we say government has a certain policy, or they don't want to encourage cricket between the two nations or any kind of ties. But then in ICC tournaments, we play them. Invariably, the ICC puts India and Pakistan in the same group, of course, for revenue purposes. To me, that seems like a bit of a hypocritical move. Like, either you play or you don't play, or if you're so steadfast in your thing that we don't have ties, and don't play in a ICC tournament either for go the points. But I mean, super interested to hear your views as well.
Yeah, I mean, my view on this is that uh, politics and sports should be separate. I know it's a very cliched statement. Everybody seems to say it, but I think it has some truth in it. It has some merit in it, because I do feel that at the end of the day, the guys playing the sport, they're not going to war, right? They are just playing a game. There's going to be one winner and one loser at the end of the day. So I think that's the aspect that should be focused on, and not the politics around it. I think there's a separate forum or a separate uh, area for that sort of discussion. I think sport, and in this case cricket, should be separate from politics, because at the end of the day it's just a bunch of 12 of 22 guys going out on the field and playing a game. At the end of the day, it is actually as simple as that. um, what complicates it is probably the politics, and hence it should be kept separate. So honestly, I do feel that going forward, we should have bilaterals. We should have uh, games against Pakistan, because I mean, think of it, right? There aren't so many test playing nations in the world, anyways. Uh, of that, your two teams are not playing each other. Bangladesh hardly plays anyone. Um, West Indies hardly plays everyone. New Zealand only hosts two test matches. Sri Lanka hosts only two test match series. So uh, essentially, the game is being robbed of one of its biggest sponsors, right? A
Yeah.
Pakistan India series is probably the biggest sponsor for the game of cricket, more so than the Ashes, even, or even more so than India versus Australia. So imagine the amount of good that will bring to cricket if India and Pakistan play. So I think that when you look at it in isolation, you look at it as a game, and you look at it as cricket. Um, uh, I think when you look at it from that perspective, India and Pakistan should play bilaterals.
And it actually helps to build ties. Like during the 2004 2007 period when India and Pakistan they toured each other like each year, there was actually a healthy atmosphere. There was a rivalry, of course. Both teams wanted to win, but there was friend. Like even when you saw this recent T20 match in the World Cup, that Virat and Babar and Rizwan and all, they were like at the end of the match, there was Dhoni was chatting with some of the Pakistani players. There is camaraderie, there is some level of respect, friendship there. Like, don't let that die out. We can't have an entire generation who don't play against each other. And if you've seen, especially on social media, before any match now, India Pakistan match, before, during, after, there's so much toxicity and this thing, and that's because it's become such a big occasion which hardly ever happens, that if things are not normalized, then it becomes bigger than like even life, right? And that I think just needs to be normalized.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a game at the end of the day, right? It's 22 guys trying their best to win. The reason it becomes so big and abnormal is because of the politics surrounding the whole situation, and that's why I think that it needs to be kept separate. This is a game of cricket, that is politics, and it's two different stories. I think until that happens, you'll probably see all of these hate messages and all of this before any India Pakistan game. So, well, hopefully one fine day we can actually get back to playing bilaterals, because I think that, like I mentioned, is very good for the game of cricket in itself.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll even see Shaheen Shah Afridi and Bumrah opening the bowling with Mumbai Indians with Jofra Archer as first change, which means there'll be no hope for any of the other teams in the IPL. Um,
Exactly. Maybe Virat and Babar, if they're playing in RCB, they might have some hope. But
yeah,
otherwise,
actually it's funny that Virat is such a legendary player, but his IPL team sucks, and
yeah.
Babar actually is the captain of Karachi Kings in PSL, and they suck this year as
Yeah.
well. So it's their careers are following very similar trajectories. But
Yeah.
cool. I think this has been a good episode. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to it. We did try to talk about something different. I know sometimes people hesitate to bring up these topics, or we also feel we don't talk enough about each other. So hopefully this is a good start. And looking forward to the Australia series, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be an interesting series, and hopefully the best team wins that one.
Yeah. And yeah, so thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week with something else in the world of cricket.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.